That's a big thing that's confronting, that we need to address and not be afraid of, and be involved in this discussion in the next few years. And I'm currently doing this. Is the issue of regionalism. I mean, when Davidson County was created as a metropolitan government in the early 60s, the 503 or 30 miles, whatever figure we agree on, that makes up Davidson County was enormous. But now it's not quite so big. And a lot of issues such as the environment, air quality, need to be addressed on a regional basis. Transportation is an issue that needs to be approached on a regional basis. We need to have a cooperative, positive relationship with the surrounding counties. I want to do that. I'm willing to meet and talk with them at any time. And I think that's going to be one of the things that we'll be doing more of in the years ahead.
Say something, Mayor, in reference to what the governor is trying to do in terms of the preschool education. I mean, the need for that, and especially having been involved in law enforcement, etc., as you've already indicated. Say something that might perhaps convince somebody that we ought to do this, because I've seen tremendous advantages, young children who are making tremendous advances simply because of this pre-K and etc. And so, let's support that.
Well, I totally support it, and I think, as I said, I think Governor Bredesen, there's nobody who's more committed to the welfare of the kids of the state than him. And I agree that the more that we can do to make sure that our youngest kids start out on the right foot, they get that opportunity to go to school with a step ahead, is something we ought to be providing. And so I think the governor's on the right track, and I think studies have shown that a pre-K program does help ensure success in school, does help kids graduate, and does help our society ultimately. So I totally support the governor on that.
So you've got about 3 minutes before we end it today, Mayor.
Well, I guess what I'd just like to say to the people of Nashville, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to them, is to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. I mean, it really is a humbling experience, but I also feel lucky and blessed that I have the opportunity to be mayor of a city that is so dynamic, that is so, has such a great present, but also a great future. And I'm just a lucky guy to be in this situation, so I say thank you to them.
And so you started in law enforcement in a real sense.
Well, I started in the public defender in the early 80s. I did that, and I worked as an assistant for several years, and then I was elected public defender in the 90s. Then my experience also as a lawyer was as the city's lawyer, the law director for the city during Mayor Purcell's administration. And I had a good opportunity to watch how he did things and to really dig deep into some of the issues the city was facing.
As a matter of fact, I think you might have used some of that experience in terms of some of those early experiences you talked about with the hockey team and negotiating and do you think that do you find that has been a very positive thing in terms of allowing you
I think the experience has helped me, because for instance, I knew where to park on the first day and all that, but it's helped me. I was not unfamiliar with with those issues. I mean, obviously there were still things I needed to learn and still things I needed to study, but basically I had worked on issues related to the arena, issues related to other things when I was law director. And certainly I knew most of the principal people in the metropolitan government before I got there, so I had good relationships already.
Very good. And of course, Mayor, let me thank you during this last minute or so for coming by and giving us that information today. As we said earlier, what we've tried to do and what our audience, I think in a real sense, has insisted upon, because they've asked so many times when we're going to have Mayor Dean on the show, and so we want to simply thank you for coming by in terms of pleasing them, but at the same time to recognize that we've been blessed. You talk about getting up every morning and wanting to go to work and etc. I think we can say the same thing in terms of what we've been able to accomplish here in terms of having individuals like yourself to come by and to encourage encourage the city of Nashville and to sort of explain some of the things that many of us might not have an opportunity to be aware of. And we certainly want to thank you and the people that were responsible for delivering you to us today.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here, and I hope I can come back. And I think you do a real public service, and I really have enjoyed our time together.
Very good. I appreciate that. And of course, let me thank you, and let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you, and good morning.